was the Mr. Gene squad, where it did not turn out so well as a 4 position. Whether this Visage is destined for a different role, we'll have to see. Certainly a lot of burst damage, certainly paired with the Decrepify, will feel like a 600 damage nuke, but that's where Infinity, they're not messing around. Iomars, I mean, you couldn't ask for a more simple, more beautiful lineup than that.
It's straightforward because it works, so going to mess with the formula too much. And in all honesty, they shouldn't. I mean, game one was pretty much the textbook example of how you want to sort of play out that exact lineup in that exact scenario. So keep it simple, keep the momentum going, maybe try and take advantage of whatever, wherever this Visage ends up, and see where that takes you. In the meantime, okay, Jakiro getting picked up here. Not a hero that we see all too often, so Visage on one side of Jakiro on the other. I will say that Jakiro's a little less unusual to see compared to the Visage, but a lot Infinity can do with this, especially if you are going to pair it up pretty frequently with the Mars in terms of just how much area that duo can cover.
Yeah, and we'll see again what position this Jakiro decides to actually go into, because there have been a lot of offlane Jakiros, there have been reactively some mid Jakiros, but of course the simplest answer would be to just see him as a 5. Of course, the Ice Path gives a lot of vision, works very well versus the familiars because you don't get those stuns off. Not to mention, it is very hard to walk your familiars out of a fight. I think the cut in their second phase, though, I mean, Sky Mage DK, there's your lineup. There's your stun and the damage that we saw already play out earlier today. But at the same time, you look over at the Visage, this has got to be a core, right? This has got to be your 1 or your 2. And when I'm thinking of the cut and Scourge and Kits, I feel like this is most likely going to be a Kits hero, but I have not seen a Visage in the mid lane in a very long time. I think in a pro game, for a very good reason, it just feels like you can get shut out so easily. Not to mention, Infinity are already kind of packing the tools here. So is your single DK Skywrath Mage initiation going to be enough? We already saw earlier today that unless you find the perfect person and then get away, it typically isn't enough. And that's, well, a Lumiere Monkey King, his best hero. I'm a little bit concerned for the cut because that DK is no longer going to have a great time. I don't think he's going to have a time at all now.
Yeah, it's just going to be rough for him in terms of making anything happen. And to the point on the Visage, we have no idea what to expect, as you said, with it in a core position. But given how sort of much of a non-factor it was at the 4 that previous time when No Ping ran it, you kind of don't have anywhere to go but up in this instance. So if you're looking for positives for the cut, then Visage in a core position might have more consistent damage than the support variant that we saw a bit earlier. But is that enough of a silver lining? Is that enough of a positive for this to really work out? Because, like you said, you're still sort of relying on that DK Skywrath Mage play to be your quick kill, your teamfight initiation, your only way to sort of guarantee lockdown. So putting a pretty substantial amount of pressure onto those two pretty much at all times if you want to make any play whatsoever.
And with the first 3 of the cut, you think of the Ancient Seal, you think of the Decrep. If you combine it with the Visage's spells, I could see something of a game plan formulating around these heroes. But I think the real problem now is they need another tool. They need someone other than the DK stun to actually be able to function along the map. But at the same time, if they do, then they're gambling on the Visage carry, and that's where if Infinity really want to take this and draw this one out, I feel like they really easily can. And they're the team with an IO carry. They're the team with the Mars Arena, who eventually will get BKB and Refresher. It's the type of game where I feel like the cut need to be ahead at all stages for them to have a shot. And it's where if they ever start falling behind Infinity, there is never a light at the end of the tunnel. There's never that comeback mechanism. And I think that's where the cut have a very difficult decision to make. Do they double down here and get another brawler, which Infinity are banning out? That's a fast pick. Okay, they
Right.
are going to be running at you. But again, if the cut ever fall behind their opponents in this game, it is so hard to dig themselves out of that hole.
This is just sort of an all-in sort of play for the cut, which maybe that's what they need, right? Game one, they were trying to sort of endure that first hit and then sort of counterattack, and the counterattack really never came. So maybe a lineup like this where you put yourself on that sort of death ground position. If you're not the team being aggressive, then you're just going to lose flat out no matter what. So Might be the motivation, might work out for them. I'm saying the word might all the time because you have no way of knowing that this is going to work, especially against this Infinity lineup that now has a Templar Assassin in it that's going to be even more damage to work with. So, oh, okay. That does shift things up a little bit. With the TA picked up, they'll put Lumiere on it and put PP on the mid Monkey King instead.
Yeah, but I feel like they got to be even happier with this situation now because, well, you can move the monkey mid because you see that there's a melee here in the mid lane. Without the Void Spirit picked up, I think they would have sat in Lumiere being uh, that Monkey King. But now, well, if Lumiere wins his lane, sure, he's going to have a pretty nice time versus the DK. I feel like both the DK and the Skyreth Mage do very high burst damage, but getting through that refraction is going to be an absolute pain. And then you've got a carry Templar Assassin playing versus those Visage Familiars, so there's always going to be a Sideblade, there's always going to be somebody to cleave off of. And that also shores up Infinity's slight problem, which was their ability to get into the pit. I feel like this is just a great Infinity draft. We are going to need to see the cut really win their lanes and I think keep that momentum throughout the entire game. How I think they play their first 15 minutes is going to be tantamount on whether or not they can even win this game. Because if those first 15 minutes don't look well, they don't get the Yule Scepter finished up on kits, they don't get an early Blink Dagger on aid, everything could fall apart so quickly.
Much like we saw in game number one, right? It only takes a couple of missteps from the cut for Infinity to just sort of punish them heavily. So, see if they have it in them this time to sort of get on the offensive and stay on the offensive here in terms of winning early. But as you said, if they don't, uh, well, we could be in for another one-sided one, maybe a short one at that. But if you're the cut, oh, you're hoping it doesn't come to that. We'll see what they can do here as this second game gets underway. Not going to be any sort of smoke play from either side. Just sort of in there. Never mind. It's a delayed smoke out from the cut. Should have waited a few seconds longer, but they will try to get a little bit of extra time, and you see the line being drawn. They're going to try and sneak around the back of the Roche pit, get up onto that high ground. See if anybody from Infinity will just sort of walk straight into that trap. They'll drop the ward as they go, but Infinity are clear on the other side of this, so the vision is going to be nice, but I don't know if they're actually going to get any sort of aggressive play with this rotation.
Yeah, it's the exact same ward they placed before. You could say this is Infinity wanting a more defensive stance here, and I think especially making sure that their ancients don't get blocked here. I could certainly see the cut going for and trying to stop it because stacks is a huge aspect of Infinity, and whether or not Lumiere actually gets those ridiculously early timings that he's known for. At the same time, I think a 2 for 2 just gonna be relatively fine for both sides. Some really nice vision placed by the cut in the meantime with their smoke. So when it comes to playing around, especially this top water rune, I think well, the Monkey King needs to be a little bit concerned about that, but that's also where Monkey is not going to care about a bottle. He's going to be caring about salves, he's going to be caring about boots, he's going to be caring about really making that Jingu be his regen as opposed to Kits, who's going to need every single water room.
You got getting a little bit of an opportunity here to get some damage in onto the Templar Assassin, but yeah, it's really not going to turn into too much. Maybe you force out a Tango here, but Lumiere will simply walk his way to the lane, and this is going to be interesting to see how effective B-God can be here in terms of just being as obnoxious as possible. If you can get through those refraction charges quickly and efficiently, then your DK is going to be tanky enough to just sort of stay in this lane and grab last hits and experience, but that's assuming that B-God is able to be aggressive and, for that matter, outperform Prada on the other side, because the Jakiro can be just as obnoxious.
Yeah, and it's also a fine line to tread. Prada has a lot more range in this lane as opposed to Lumiere until he gets a few more points up in those side blades, meaning that Prada needs to literally tank and stay a little bit closer to the wave so that way he's the one eating the concussive shot. Otherwise, Lumiere will certainly be feeling the damage coming in from B-God. At the same time, I think that the cut need to be very careful here because all it takes is level 1 or level 2, and then suddenly the few little upticks in damage from Lumiere can mean a lot. But Prada, he's got Stick, he's got Fairy Fire, uses both, will be fine.
It's your DK putting his first point up into the Dragon Tail to try and make that play happen, so it was worth a try in that instance. And second he hits level 2, yeah, he is going to get the point up in the Dragon Blood itself. So not really too much lost on that play. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, Overlom getting himself jumped in on. Mariano got the spear stun. He might lose Genic here, but Scourge isn't actually able to get into position in time to hit him up for that last bit of damage.
Yeah, and unfortunately, you would have loved that kill. Would have been solo XP. Would have been a lot, honestly, for the Visage, as getting that level 6, of course, is the game changer. It's why mid laners would try to make it work before, just because once you get level 6, it doesn't really matter how your lane went up until that point, but what can you do? Full reset, Iomar's classic lane. You're just always giving Mariano pretty much infinite mana to cast his spells. You really can't get denied all too much here.
This is turning into a little bit of a problem. Honestly, in these early stages, you look across the board, the cores for Infinity are really farming up quite nicely, whereas the Cuts cores are... They're not starved for farm, but they're all behind their counterparts by kind of noticeable margin here as Bigod, lucky he just doesn't get picked off as he's able to fall back, but early on, these lanes for the Cut are not easy. Mentioned winning these lanes is going to be so important for them, sort of getting that momentum in the first 10 to 15 minutes. If they can't turn it around, then that makes their job that much harder.
Yeah, it's the type of game where I think the cut from ahead, they've got a shot. The cut from behind, they just simply don't, at least in my opinion. And that's where, at the very least, a lot of damage traded top. It's where that concussive shot is very obnoxious here. I think the big problem is once Lumiere hits level 3, then you've got all of his spells. We'll see. He should just get another point up in Sideblade, but I can also see him greeting out for the Refraction, because then you just hit Aid in a creep wave. But at the same time, I think really either way, or either side could get kind of a leg up here, especially with Prada so low. I think he's waiting for his courier to deliver a lot of items right now. Anyone could die in the next few moments. But
Made an
Scourge,
attempt. Yeah.
cool.
Dangerously low. In fact, I think, honestly, if Mariano had gone all the way in and maybe taken a tower shot or two, I think he could have gotten the last bit of damage in to secure that kill, but his own HP wasn't exactly topped off, so he decides to play it safe. And the good news for Scourge is that there was enough region between himself and Overlom where he's able to stay in the lane, but the fact that this duo for Infinity can apply that kind of pressure has to be a little bit concerning for him moving forward.
I'm just watching PP just brutalize kits. It's not a fun lane if you're the Void Spirit. You're really just kind of getting XP at this point in some of the small camp.
PP just kind of winning that matchup. Meanwhile, up top, he got okay. Able to get in there behind the tower, able to hit with the Arcane Bolt for the kill, and Prada does get taken down. Bigod will now deny himself to the tower. Deny himself, he'll die, but while that was happening, Overlom gets picked off in the bottom lane. Mariano and Genic push their way in, and Hugna doesn't actually have a point up in the decrep here, so he can't really keep himself safe when the right clicks come in.
Yeah, there's not much that he can do. The overcharge comes through, the boots, the orb. I mean, it's just not a fun time for Overwhelm. And he'd love to get XP somewhere. He'd like to take over a lane pretty soon here, or even stack and pull the small camp. But if he ever tried to pull that small camp, then the Mars and the Io are going to chase Scourge underneath the tower. So it's not like that's an option. It's a rough early game for sure. But at the very least, I think Aid is having a pretty decent time. He's able to build himself up pretty nicely.
Yeah, the DK is always going to have that durability to fall back on, so he is doing okay. Meanwhile, what is going on here? Supports. Yeah, they're having a bit of a fight in the river. Bigod and Prada are duking it out a little bit, but not much going to come of that. Meanwhile, back down bot keeps sort of coming over to this lane because they are getting very low very frequently on these heroes. Mariano pushed in. Genic was very nearly taken down, but the IO is able to survive, and everyone will go their separate ways in that bottom lane. But they are not backing down from any of these fights, and Mariano, I mean, he's going to start getting close to level 6 here pretty soon. So they need to be careful in that lane. They need to be careful up top as well as Kits tries to fight for the rune, gets himself taken down. PP finds the kill. Now Bigod really doesn't have anywhere to go. He'll stand his ground and get a kill onto Prada. That's a nice little trade-off, but I mean, this Skyrath he's dead. There's really just nothing for it. They're just trying to figure out who's going to take the kill, and they haven't made a decision yet. There we go. PP's the one to take it. Not Infamous, Infinity will get the trade-off going their way.
Yeah, I think they're very happy with that. At the same time, Lumiere very simply just gets to walk top, take the lane back over, and to the Cut's credit, they did force Lumiere to jungle up until this point, and without getting level 6, he is returning to the lane into a DK, who is certainly willing to just ult him, but now it's up to how well Aid plays with his cart here, whether or not he's able to keep it alive, and that's unfortunate. The aggro just does not do him any favors there, and with the cart dead, it's going to be a much slower push onto this tower.
Okay,
And
that's
not really
about
going to
it
be able to do
here.
too much. Meanwhile, down bot, there's a little bit of a convergence coming through. PP has moved into position. Got Genek sort of hanging out nearby as well, and,
Well,
well, that's a much easier kill. Just take it, yeah. Overlom gets taken down. That does mean Scourge is going to get the alert, but Scourge does not have a TP. I'm not sure if they scouted that or not. The fact that they're still here kind of implies that they did.
uh-oh.
There's going to be the Wukong's command into the Boundless Strike. Scourge is trapped. Spear stun comes through as well. They'll find the kill. Elsewhere on the map, well, 8 is able to get a kill onto Prada. That's nice, I suppose, but 2 heroes dead in the bottom lane, and this should just be a tier 1 trade-off between the 2 squads. Means Infinity are going to come out ahead.
Yeah, and I'm looking at top. Lumiere's not even giving it up, and yet they didn't have to use
Ooh.
the arena bottom. It was just a spear, so this should just be a free kill. I think Bigod's going to make him work for it a little bit more, but it doesn't matter if Mariano can't get the spear. The numbers are just kind of there, and tower defended.
Yeah, I was going to say, you know, it would have been a tower trade. Infinity still would have won by virtue of getting more kills, but now, yeah, they don't even lose their tower. They might not even lose mid here. That tier 1 is starting to drop, but let's see what
DD
Prada can do. How much time can he buy? Does Kiss just go in for the tower? Because really, if he just focuses on it now, he could get it. Instead, he's going to jump onto Mariano, looking for the kill, but the spear stun locks him in place. Mariano's able to hit him up with the rebuke as well. Kits doesn't want to give up on the kill. He will be able to get it, while Overlom found the tower, and now Kits is just going to TP home. So, get your Void Spirit out of there. Overlom may end up paying for this, though. He's desperately going to try and draw the aggro, and nope. Not quite able to do it. PP finds the kill. 5-0 now for the Monkey King, but if you're the cut, you got a kill onto Mariano, and you did take the tier 1 tower, so that is going to sort of narrow that gap a little bit here in terms of the net worth, but every time they make a play, it's coming at a cost, and now Scourge might be in some trouble.
Ooh.
Strike, locking him down. PP coming in. Nice play with the familiars, but is it enough?
Do they want this? This is crazy.
This is not an easy kill. Overlom is just going to sort of come in as a distraction and a little bit of backup, and that's going to push PP back. Okay. Mission accomplished, I guess. If you're the cut, you managed to keep your carry alive, but
Watch top.
yep. Oh boy, Aid, you are very tanky, but not quite tanky enough to survive this. All 3 cores on his head. Genek was also there, as he TPs in afterwards. Didn't really contribute to the fight, but he's here now to boost up the Monkey King, and I mean, this pressure is pretty spectacular. Sure, you don't get the kill onto that Visage down in the bottom lane, but you immediately transition it into a gank, and I guess you got to be a little careful here. He's on the wrong side of the river at the moment. Rada's coming in as well, but I don't know if they can actually keep him locked down. That Boundless would have to basically be perfect, and he's not even going to try it.
Yeah, and, well, now we kind of have to wait. I think the cut need to get their level 6s now on supports. It's where the Mystic Flare, it is their way to change this game, to turn things around really for the better. But at the same time, after Aid's death, and really his unsuccessful push before, his Blink Dagger is a lot slower. He almost needs this tier 1 to finish off his Blink Dagger at this rate. Otherwise, it is just going to come at that much slower of a pace, but can also not afford to die again. It's why Overwhelm is so set up right now, but
Okay,
without the life drain, yeah, this is relocate, but
directly onto the DK. That's a little too close, actually, because PP just takes a stun to the face, but they're still going for it. Wukong's command into Spear Stun, locking the DK down. Decrep from Overlom is useful, and it might actually just be enough to save him. Okay, Aid walks away, and you just threw a lot of ults out there on the side of Infinity. You did not get this kill, and now the cut are looking for some revenge. They're going to push it onto Mariano, trying to bring him down. They need someone to come help him, but Hits actually doesn't have any more mana to work with, so he wasn't able to keep that chase going, and well, now it's time for Infinity to return fire. They get the nice stun down onto the Void Spirit. He's still able to dissimulate himself out of here, but B-God is not nearly as fortunate. He will be taken down. PP gets the kill. Overlom not going to get jumped in on. So after all of that, it is one kill onto a Skywrath Mage with about 4 or 5 ults committed, but still Infinity who find that kill, and it's the Cut who are forced to sort of back away and try to regroup behind their tower.
It's just so much time as well, and it's the simple matter of the game where, while you are 4v4ing, Lumiere is farming, and, well, so is Scourge McDuck, but Scourge McDuck is not a TA. Scourge McDuck is a Visage, and I feel like his involvement in those fights is the real reason why they ended up going for his hero. I just wonder when we're going to see him show up to that engagement, because if he needs to be top to get this DK's Blink, he's the one who needs to be top to get the DK's Blink, and Aid will almost assuredly get it in a few minutes here, but look at Kits. He is really
nicely
dodging it
done.
out.
Dodges the Boundless, dodges the Arena. That's a big play. Infinity now have to sort of wait and reset. I don't know if they're willing to go back in without that sort of stun setup, so
Oh,
one fell
oh
swoop.
no.
Well, okay.
Aid.
They can go back in if they've got this kind of play. 3v1 in their favor, and your Dragon Knight should be taken down. That's just an unfortunate play. The DK's not quite strong enough to sort of just go
Oh.
for that by himself, and now Overlord's going to get potentially picked off as well. Decrep's buying some time, as they did set up onto Genic as that relocate pulled him back in. So they're able to trade it out for the supports, but wasn't just the supports. Overlom gets taken down, but it was the DK kill beforehand that keeps the momentum going in Infinity's favor.
Yeah, I am still waiting. I'm waiting for this top tower to die. I know Aid's waiting for the top tower to die. PP is hunting in the trees. He's really had just a flawless game so far. I mean, 8-0-1. He hasn't been farming the most, but he hasn't needed to because the kills are just falling into his lap. And now with Mariota in the mid lane, I mean, the Cut have to run back here, but they're also running towards the top lane. They're kind of losing a lot of that initiative, not to mention Lumiere. Okay, he did swap up his build. He had a Blink Dagger queued up for the longest time, but once he has Deso, it's where the stakes of the game might just increase past the scope the Cut are really ready for here, as they barely try. They're going to have to go for a deny on the tower, I feel like, in a few moments here. It's going to tick out almost to the Liquid Fire. Well,
Okay. Able to
But
get it.
B-God-
Yeah, that's a problem. The Skywrath is going to get jumped in on here. Should be a relatively easy kill for them as the arena goes
Whoa.
down. The Wukong's command into the Jakiro just drops the ult and the Ice Path right on top of each other. And the Cut, they just get blown away. I mean, you can't line up like that. That's just too easy.
my mouth is just agape. I mean, a level 1 ice path as well. You know, not the most impressive thing in the world, but I mean, all of that damage comes through so quickly. It was all stacked up here. I mean, tier 1 into 3, at the very least, Aid wasn't there. Aid got his Blink Dagger finished, so they can look for a smoke once the Mystic Flare is up in 19. But I think I see a DD and a Deso and Infinity, or will most likely look to get this Roche underway with a Blink Dagger on the Mars to kill anybody who tries to stop them. I'm incredibly concerned right now for the Cut. Something has to change at this fight, at this contest of the Roche pit. If Lumiere gets this, I think the schedule is just a little bit too fast for them right now.
They're just playing at a pace that the Cut really aren't ready to match, so we'll see what they can do. There's going to be the initiation. Aid actually just jumps past it, so he avoids the spear, but I mean,
Oh no.
he's by himself. There's no one here. Overlom actually uses the life drain on an enemy, so he's not going to be available to heal, so Aid is just going to die. DK gets taken down, and the rest of the fight's not looking great either. Overlom dropping low. He's going to be quickly finished off here as well. PP, though, got a little bit too far forward, and B-God hits him up with that Mystic Flare, so they do find a return kill. Prada is going to get taken down the river as well, but
Oh.
Mariano, he missed the spear. Now he's kind of stuck. He doesn't really have any way out. If he drops the arena, that's going to be useful, but Kit's able to jump over the wall, but now that means he's kind of stuck in here. That's not quite what he was hoping for, I think, when he made that jump, and all of a sudden, Infinity go from potentially throwing that fight to just being back in control.
Yeah, no, Lumiere, he will think more so of committing into the pit, but unfortunately, Scourge McDuck lost his first set, resummoned, lost one of his other birds, so he only has a single familiar for the next 35, but hey, you killed PP. You stopped the Monkey King for the time being. I think that's massive, at least XP-wise. You know, you got a lot in terms of that, but at the same time, they cannot afford to cut Aid off. So many times it feels like he is expecting his team to be behind him, where he's expecting someone to decrep him or force staff him or give him a life drain, but it just has not happened so far in this game.
just kind of awkward to see. He blinks in, and it was a nice play there. He blinks
Bye, Prada.
Okay, that's a problem. There's the Mystic Flare, easy kill. He was able to blink past the Mars the last time around and then still ended up getting himself into trouble. So he's finding the openings, it's just his teammates are not always there to back him
Look
up.
at
That
this.
time, though,
Oh,
they find the
Mariano.
kill, but what's... Okay, this is getting a little bit awkward. Lumiere still wants to chase after it, though, but Hits comes in, drops the Yules. Genic is actually going to step in front of the Aether Remnant, though, so...
and now they're stuck?
Yeah, Lumiere didn't get pulled back, but now they've lost their escape route. Genic's taken down, Mariano's in some trouble. Familiars are hounding him at every turn. They're going to be able to drop the stuns. Kits is able to find a second kill. They should not be able to chase onto Lumiere, though, but... they hold. I mean, that was a relocate gang coming in from Infinity that just goes terribly. And all of a sudden, starting to get a little bit more money. Kits had just been working with the Yule Scepter, but after those kills, he's able to start progress towards that next big pickup. And taking a look at things, you know, you're still, what, 2k behind PP, 3 or 4k behind the Templar Assassin, but the gap is getting a little bit narrower with that gold. So if you're Infinity, you can't afford too many errors like that. You have a pretty sizable lead for this point in the game, but it's far from unthrowable.
Yeah, it all starts because Mariano does a really weird spear onto what was not a Visage. I don't know if there's some lag involved. His Kits... Oh, chain.
Oh, man. Well, that's going to make up for it. Able to just get in there for the quick and easy kill, and now if you're the cut, I'm not really sure that there's a fight to be taken here. You can still maybe get that Dragontail Mystic Flare combo onto one, but which one? Infinity, we're all grouped up in the pit right now, and this does not seem doable for the cut, especially with how quickly Roche is going down. With that armor reduction they've got, they just melt through it.
And, well,
Okay.
there's your free kill, but who's caught in the arena? Yeah, Mariano might die, but...
TP's going to come in to try and clean it up. He got taken down. DK looking for the TP out, and Aid will make it. So, well, that doesn't go terribly, all things considered. They find a kill. They get their core away. You do have to deal with a Templar Assassin with 2 lives here, but really it feels like the game plan had already been to avoid Lumiere if at all possible at this stage in the game. So, just feels like a continuation of that for the next 4.5 minutes.
Yeah, no, they're going to look to delay. They're going to look to play, I think, a lot on these side lanes. Now, Infinity, they don't need to delay. They get to do whatever they want. Grovebone and Lumiere as well. I feel like that's going to be the big problem is Aid is insane, but he is able to blink out of that super easily. Surprised PP didn't lead with the Boundless, but he didn't actually have the Boundless. At the same time, though, I feel like the only way Infinity really can lose this game at this point is if they give a whole bunch of kills as the relocate comes in. Scourge is looking for it, doesn't hit it, and there you go. And then the birds, I feel like they're going to try to clean them up here. He's got a rebuke. Oh.
You get one. Ooh, a little bit of spill onto the second there as well. So, is it worth it? Lumiere, well, he tried for it, and now he's kind of in an awkward spot because his Cloying Blade's in his backpack, so...
Hey.
Got Mariano, though. Okay. There's that duo again, sort of striking wherever they can, but you start to wonder at a certain point, you know, finding that kill occasionally as Overlam just going to get himself picked off there. But will that occasional pick off from the DK and your Skywrath Mage really be enough to keep you in this game? Will it be enough to keep Infinity from taking further control of this map and pushing out the lanes? Because right now it seems like that answer is no, but the cut don't really have any alternative. If you can find the kills, you might as well go for it.
Yeah, and they'll take it, especially onto the Mars, because he's looking for big items himself. He's losing a lot of gold whenever he does get actually take it down here. The problem, of course, is that if it's not Lumiere, then does it really matter is going to be the question of this game. I feel like they could do the same thing to PP, but PP, of course, is a monkey. He's in the trees. They need to be set up, and I think that's who they were initially waiting for, played that high ground ward, but at the same time, that's the only play they can make. It's where, unfortunately, they're so single target. All they can really do is push out these waves and kind of hope for the best here. As mid, though, Mariano, again, is split from the group. Kind of needs a little bit more help. Ooh, Kits. He missed. And now he's getting run at. Oh.
Dual Scepter to buy some time, but he doesn't have any abilities. Mariano whiffing with the arrow. And all of a sudden, Kits might actually have a way to get himself out of this, but the Boundless Strike is still going to lock him down. There's the Ice Path to follow it up, and Kits is not going to get away. The Astral Step was coming up in just a second. He's not able to get out. Kits goes down. B-God falls as well, and to be honest, that was kind of strange, because Kits only has the opportunity to live in the first place because Infinity mess up their timing, but then his own timing doesn't really come together in the way that he wants, so he still gets picked off. Meanwhile, up top, Lumiere, he's pushing a tier 3 tower. 22 minutes in, he's just doing this by himself. Aid is going to try to get through the creep wave as best as he can, but you still lost about half the HP of your tier 3 tower.
Yeah, not much you can do, unfortunately. They're going to kind of get sectioned off. I think moving on to this mid-tier 2 is most likely going to be Infinity's next objective. But hey, minute 30 on Aegis, you might be able to actually find a kill onto the TA with the Mystic Flare. Just need to hope you find Genic sleeping, because unfortunately with this mech, it's just so much healing, and they are getting ran at in every single capacity here. Scourge, he's got the AC. He's a little bit tankier. Nice chain stun as well, but...
Oh, the Boundless. That is big. Scourge gets taken down. Mariano's going to lose a little bit of HP here as well, but not enough, especially with Genic on the back line to just heal him up. So Scourge gets dropped, and they're going to look for B-God here. Oh, that's a nice Mystic Flare, though. PP very nearly dropped down. He does force out the BKB from himself, but they still find the pick. B-God taken down. The respawns are going to be a little bit staggered here on the side of the cut, but that won't really matter if Infinity don't push any further forward. We'll see where they want to go, because right now none of the lanes are in a perfect position for them to find any objectives. So instead, Lumiere's just going to push forward, looking for kills. Overlom will be taken down fairly quickly. Aid was able to blink himself away, so he should survive. But back to the point of the staggered respawns, now it might matter, because now the creep waves are coming up. Infinity can just go after objectives.
It really is funny how careless Infinity can be with their BKBs. Every single time Overlom is decrepping not himself, it's always a blink on by Lumiere to just kill the Pugna. The Pugna does not last very long versus the level 20 TA, but at the same time, Aegis gone. Smoke up on the Aegis disappearing. Believe you'd love to have this Ags on Kits, but there's just no time. Prada, though,
Oh, the Force Staff.
He's going to get it still.
Okay, but at this point, how quickly can the rest of the team show up? There's going to be the mech. Prada is just going to stand in the damage and will get himself picked off there, but maybe he bought some time for his teammates to try and make some sort of counter maneuver. What do they want to do? They're going to blink their way forward. B-God is not dead just yet. Genic's actually the one to fall. This fight getting a little bit split up, but they want Kits. They would rather go after the core than settle for supports. They're able to find that first kill onto the Void Spirit. Now they'll turn their attention over to Overlong. PP does have to wait for the decrep, but Mariano comes in with a spear, locking him down. Kits, though, just bought back. He's going to TP himself in, getting onto the tier 2 tower. They're going to look to turn this fight, but now PP, well, he just jumped down, but there's really nothing for him to do here. In fact, he's actually kind of low on HP. He'll turn around for the Boundless Strike, and with the Jingu, he heals right back up, and they might bait this out because Lumiere is looking to join the fight. Stunned up by the Familiars, though, so they're not going to be able to go any further just yet, or maybe they can. Lumiere blinks in. First kill onto Overlom, looking for Kits now as well. Kits just bought back. He cannot afford to go down here. But they are going to continue to chase him. Aid will now buy back here as well, but this is just a little staggered. They are getting themselves back into the fight, though, and they did take Lumiere out. This could be the turning point. PP trying to fight his way through this, activating the BKB, trying to get onto Scourge. Prada doing damage from the low ground with that Macro Pyre. Is enough to finish off the Visage, but it's going to come at a cost. They will lose Genic. He dies to a neutral, so he's not going to give up any gold, but he's still... okay. He's still dead as Kits Yules as a creep rather than Prada. Fight will come to an end. In Infinity, they may not have gotten the open path into their opponent's base that they were looking for initially, but you force out buybacks on 3 of the 5 heroes, and you lose some heroes yourself, but you take a look at the net worth right now, 13k in their favor. They have a massive edge, as the cut won't have that manpower to work with the next time.
Yeah, and hey, despite committing 3 buybacks, you know, the cut end up 1,000 gold, you know, in the green after that fight, but it's still really rough. This is a nice word place, though. Enough damage. They need to follow up DK stun. They got PP. Cool. And Mariano. Oh, the ice path.
Mariano can't fight this. He's stuck. Oh, he was stuck in the fireball. Taking that DOT the whole way. B-God gets the kill. Kits is looking to continue pushing as Aid comes in. Blink into stun. Prada will fall, so... well... said before, you know, the Cut don't have the manpower, having used a lot of buybacks in that fight, but they didn't really need the extra bodies to throw into that one. They just take that fight perfectly, and all of a sudden, Infinity, you gotta be a little bit careful here. That 12k net worth lead just okay. Just got 3k cut off of it as Lumiere tries to go for the cheeky play, but Overlaw able to decrypt. They'll turn it around with Mystic Flare. And Lumiere got 100% baited by Overlaw. I'm surprised there's not even a tip coming out from your Pugna at the end there, because he just completely played that TA.
Yeah, the throws are throws. There are certainly a lot of plays that Infinity are making that aren't panning out here. And hey, now it's their high ground that's getting pestered by the DK and the Visage Birds, and your Glyph is forced. I really feel like PP, you know, it's an honest mistake getting caught up by Vision that was placed, you know, almost 7 minutes prior. You know, that is mildly unfortunate, but at the same time, I think Lumiere's death is almost unacceptable. That's their easy victory that is going to get a little bit muddled. The very least, very kind Roche, a Roche that will still very heavily favor Infinity, a Roche that will mean the second shard. I feel like that is still something to look forward to, but just some very uncharacteristic sloppy
Aid.
plays from a lot of the members. But yeah,
Speaking of kind of
Aid on
sloppy
the low ground.
plays, he is very tanky,
DKB though.
Meanwhile, PP, he's looking for the supports. B-God's going to get taken down quickly. So without that Mystic Flare, yeah, the Cut don't quite have that much to work with. Now the Arena getting thrown down. Mariano trapping up too. The Wukong's Command's going to get thrown out as well. Overlom dropping low, able to survive for a few extra seconds, but he will still die, which means your DK is currently fighting alone, or maybe not. Kit's joining the fight, trying to get in there, but once he realizes that they've lost the numbers advantage and that he's sort of losing his backup, you do see Kit's back away, but that means Aid is not going to have as much support as he would like, and well, he might just get taken down. Spear stun pins him to the tree. They're able to finish him off here pretty quickly as somehow Yannick took that. That's funky, but okay. Kill for your Isle. Why not? Infinity take the fight, and they will go straight into the Roche pit.
Yep, and well, we're back to normalcy. We're back to Infinity kind of doing their thing here. And now with this Aegis, I mean, the Cut, they still can't afford to just go for Lumiere. The past 2 times they caught him in that in-between. His last 2 deaths were certainly ugly, but hey, he's got a Lincoln Sphere. Now your 1 stun is no longer a stun on the Cut side. They're going to need to bait it out with probably the Atos or the Agent CO, and then maybe they look for something on top of it. But it's where, unfortunately, I think Infinity definitely take a little bit of a misstep, give up a few too many kills here. But this next batch of Infinity items are killers. It's BKB on Mars, it's Scotty on the Monkey King, it's what was most likely going to be an Agi Blink on Lumiere. And then, well, if you're the Cut, things are not looking as bright on your side as Kits, though. Solo kill into Mariano. I don't know if Mariano wants to play this game, to be honest. He's been having a rough one.
Yeah, not the greatest of performances for him so far, but his team still sort of ahead at the moment. Did want to point out there just a moment ago, Genic relocated himself and Lumiere down bot to try and kill the familiars from Scourge. They got 1, but obviously you can see the others still flying around nearby. So that might have been part of the reason why Kits felt aggressive enough to push his way forward there. The birds are able to scout out that a relocate pulled Lumiere away, so they knew weren't going to have any reinforcements for Mariano. So I don't know. I understand that play. You want to get the birds out of there so that they can't sort of cut your creep waves, but the information that you give up is allowing the Cut to try and poke and prod elsewhere, is now the full 5-man smoke. This would be huge if they could find something. Let's see where they can go, though, because really the only targets are hanging out in this middle lane.
They would love to find the Mars again, but that's where they have to be scared of Prada as well. This Jakiro has so much net worth. He's been finding so many great ice paths, and that's also where, unfortunately, well, someone catches the mid wave right now, and I think Kits is going to be the soldier to do it. They are going to come right up into the high ground, not to mention top lane is already all the way in, so if you cut the mid wave, well, top is going to be their next avenue, and backdoor is going to be gone in a few seconds here. They just need to wait for it to meet, and yeah, they just changed to top. A tower already missing most of its health. I mean, Lumiere is just going to kill this.
Yeah, good idea from the Cut, just not really a situation where it works out as well as they needed it to, as the Rax will now come under attack. Aid's going to pull the creep aggro away, but they don't need the creeps, they just need them in the base. Moving that backdoor protection, as that top lane will be taken in its entirety. So Infinity able to strike at their opponent's base. They get that first lane of Rax. Now they're going to potentially look for a little bit more. Kits, however, He's really hanging out. He's going to pop, though. He'll try and make his move, jumping in quickly. Genic is presumably the target, but they're not able to fully get in onto him. Where is B-God? They need that Mystic Flare. He was able to throw it out, but it's just not enough damage. Kits is the one who gets trapped up and taken down. And I suppose they lose Genic in exchange. That is going to be unfortunate, but if you're Infinity, that doesn't really change your game plan right now, especially considering the Void Spirit's now dead. His buyback's on cooldown for another 45, so have a nice window of opportunity to work with here, but you see Mariano actually TPing back because Scourge sent the Familiars forward. It got a tier 3 tower and the ranged rack spot, so the Cut aren't giving up on this, although now they might be in some trouble. Aid gonna get jumped in on. Wukong's command is there. Nice force step, though, to get him out of the ring, but he still doesn't have the health to survive that play.
Yeah, and he's at the mercy of his opponents, unfortunately. As much as the split push play is neat and nifty, they're just getting chased to the fountain at this point. Ooh, overwhelm.
Oh, he tried. Tried to heal his teammate. He'll decrep himself, just trying to get back to the fountain now, and he's actually going to turn around, get the life drain in for a little bit of extra health, and I mean, he lives. That's nice, but not really sure it's going to be enough to matter, especially as Scourge dies here. Look at that jump in from PP. They get the spear sent down as well. Overlom, though, healing his teammate. Scourge not dead yet. Kit's now jumping in as well. Getting the Remnant down onto PP, dropping him low. Monkey King taken down. And they might look for more. Yeah, they get Prada taken down quickly. Mariano was thrown up in the air by the Yule Scepter, so they're going to try and track him down because this BKB, not on the longest duration, and he doesn't have any TP, so he can't just immediately leave. The Familiars are keeping his Blink Dagger canceled. And the Cut are able to... Well, I can't really say hold the line. They lost a full lane of racks beforehand, but they find some huge kills in a scenario where Infinity has kind of overstay their welcome.
Oh, and to the more watchful observer, you will have noticed that Genic pulled the Aegis Carrier out of the fight. He took Lumiere all the way back to the fountain after Genic bought back. This is a great game of Dota. This game has been perfectly executed thus far, but hey, Midrack's still alive, you know, a lot of gold. They certainly have to be a little bit scared here, especially with 15 seconds on Aegis. That was really, I think, Infinity's time to end this one, but, you know, let's keep playing Dota. Let's see what happens. Buybacks are all resetting as well for the Cut, so if they really want to, they can throw everything and then some into the next fight here, but, okay, let's play.
This one's not over just yet. Scourge finished off the Aghanim Scepter, so he's got that silent as the grave. Always kind of an interesting one. It's weird because with the Visage being so unpopular, we don't really see this Ags all that often, but it could be a pretty big deal here in terms of the amount of damage that he's able to dish out. So if you can shift for the Cut where you're not still reliant on the Mystic Flare for a lot of the heavy lifting on these opening kills, going to be in a much better position. Meanwhile, on the side of Infinity, well, time to regroup. You have maybe overextended a little bit once or twice, but it's still a 13k lead. They've still got a lane of racks going for themselves, and they are still very, very far ahead in terms of the item progression, especially for Lumiere, but far from unkillable. They've got to play this so carefully, as look at all the pings coming out here. Both sides kind of aware of where the other are. I think the Cut might have smoked on this ward in the middle lane, so they're not as sneaky as they think they are. But PP, okay, same could be said for him. He's going to get jumped in on. There's the Mystic Flare. They're going to drop him down. PP's already dead. Monkey King down for the count. Buyback is available. He's not going to use it yet. He will buy back now, trying to TP onto the outpost. But by the time he gets here, Mariano is pretty much out of this fight. He's got to fall back, but Lumiere continues to push forward. Aid was taken down, so the DK is out of the fight. Buyback's available for him. Will they use it? They're just going to try and pull back for now. Overlom, though, not going to be able to get himself away. PP will find the kill. But now, if you're Infinity, you got a decision to make here. You were able to take that fight, but you had to buy back on a Monkey King. So if you lose him again, he is going to be down for quite some time. Meanwhile, the Cut would love to see them almost try and go for a bait play here. With those buybacks available, they could quickly rush reinforcements in as Kits. That is a very aggressive move. There's going to be the buybacks, though. They'll push their way forward. PP has to be forced staffed to safety. And they will get him away, but that's... Did he relocate him back again?
Yeah, if only they placed a ward on the low ground here, then they would know that they brought the monkey out. They would have certainly looked a little bit deeper there onto Lumiere, but without the vision into the night, Aid can't exactly jump to the low ground, not only without BKB, but without Dragon Form, without really any vision either. It would have almost been suicidal, but if he knew, it was effectively a 3v5 for a good brief moment there, and at the same time, Infinity, with this reset, they ever find the DK again, the Cuts team fight is over. It is all on Kits at that point to find absolutely everything. And I think this is where maybe the Cut look for a little bit of a stall play. I think both sides might look to take this game towards this next Roche. Instant Roche would be great for Infinity. They need another Aegis to Lumiere. Meanwhile, the Cut, I think they would love 25 on Void Spirit. Both teams really have big timings that they could hopefully wait for. But that's where Roche is not so nice. Only 40 seconds onto the timer. This is a very fast Roche respawn.
Yeah, no chance that the Void hits 25 before that point. He just got the 24, so not going to be able to close that gap in time. Although, where is this going? Relocate down to the bottom lane. Okay, so they're going to keep the lanes pushed out here, try and maintain pressure on the Cut for as long as they possibly can, and, well, now if we sort of see a fight around the Roche pit, the Cut are going to have to be wary of their position back home, but Infinity set up. They've got the trap in the pit, so they will know the second that Roche is back up here, as should be respawning right about now, and actually smoked really right on that timer as well, so they will make their way mid. If they could find Kits here, this would be so big for them. They're going to get the silence down first. The Eul Scepter's forced out, but Ice Path is going to be there. They get the Spear Stun as well. Kits, though, is still not dead. And Overlom, this is a very solid job healing up his teammate, but they're fighting inside the Wukong's command as Aid gets taken down first. Overlom dropping low as well. They're going to be able to finish him off, too. And look at that Ice Path clipping onto 2. Lumiere's in for the damage. Mariana's going to drop the Arena into the Spear Stun. Kits gets taken down. The Visage is dropped as well. Scourge is gone. No buybacks available. B-God is the last man standing, but he's not going to be standing for long.
I think that's it. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, and they will call it. Yeah, they know as well. I mean, great execution at the end of the game. A sloppy, murky path that Infinity traveled for a very long time there, and some certain oversights that the Cut played in. Specifically, B-God and Aid finding all too many of those Mystic Flare kills, but at the end of the day, unfortunately, the Visage did not work. Another Visage that will go down as a loss in the history books.
Yeah, still haven't quite figured out exactly what they want from him, or maybe to put it in a different way, still haven't been able to get him to what they want fast enough. That's probably the more apt way to describe it, because Scourge did seem like he had the game plan there, right? He picks up the armor, the durability, he's got the Aghanim Scepter, so you started to see that durability and that damage kinda coming into focus, but kinda is not going to be enough, and at the end of the day, this is a 0-kill carry for the Cut. That is just, frankly unacceptable. Really, you can't have that happen.
Yeah, and when you talk about such heroes drafted so early on, you talk about flexibility, you talk about what they actually want to do, but at least for me, for a spectator, seeing them pick Pugna Visage in the first phase, and then it would feels like take us in a completely different direction with the DK Skyref. They're doing their own thing, and then Kits is certainly doing his own thing on the Void Spirit. It just kind of makes you wonder when you break it down to the bare bones, what exactly was the combo play? What advantage did this Visage so early on give us? Because I feel like at the end of the day, we didn't really see it. There was never that moment where Overlom and Scourge meet up with each other. They get a 600 damage spirit, and then they decrep, and then they kill someone in an incredible amount of time. I don't feel like that ever really happened. And then, unfortunately, you're playing versus Lumiere. You're playing versus a Monkey King that had an advantageous matchup versus your Void Spirit to begin with, and then a TA at the end of the day, it's just really rough. And sure, Infinity made quite a lot of mistakes along the way there, but at the end of the day, it did feel like they were never really the one that were going to lose this game. It felt like during the entire duration, they were always the one that just had to start playing better, and they kind of did at the end there.
Mm-hmm. And you can see, taking a look at the graphs here, even at their sort of most questionable point in terms of the potential throw, the graph still doesn't really dip down that significantly. This is still somewhere in the realm of maybe 7 or 8k in their favor. So even at their weakest, quote unquote, Infinity did still have a pretty sizable amount of control. And as you can see from the rest of the graph, once they regroup, once they sort of clamp down on those mistakes, they're just able to pretty much take the win for themselves. So solid for Infinity. They get another 2-0 sweep here. Meanwhile, the Cut, well, they remain winless. I think their record now is at 0-6. So, not fantastic for them. There's still plenty of time to turn this around, and considering only one team gets eliminated in this group stage, they don't have to do too much to avoid being that squad, but they are gonna have to sort of get it in gear relatively soon here.
Yeah, it kind of feels like it's going to be a race between the Mystery Machine and the Cut, but it's where maybe they surprise us. I do feel like it is going to be a battle of those teams at the end of the day, but that's where I think those two teams still need to face off. Fingers crossed. Yeah, that's the 8th, and that's going to be the matchup to watch. That's going to be the series to really throw your money at.
In the meantime, we do have an interview coming up here. We're going to be talking with Mariano of Infinity in just a little bit. So don't go anywhere. We're not done just yet. One more interview. Going to take a moment, though, to set things up just so that we're not sort of throwing camera angles around on the fly. So stick around. We'll be back with that winner's interview in really just a minute. So be right back.